Ever since I started Death Battle reviews and the way I've been doing them, I knew that I need to take the time to go back and give a proper, dedicated review to Yoda vs King Mickey. In the format at least I started since Shadow vs Ryuko, which, spoiler alert, I probably will not be continuing next year. This is the 10th anniversary year, this is why every review is going back to the past, except Povo's Iron Fist, because it feels right. And it wouldn't be right to not give the premiere of this season the attention. We're in the mid-season break, I've decided to do that now. Let's review every single episode of Death Battle that features a Star Wars or Kingdom Hearts character. Aside from a few, Darth Vader vs Dr. Doom already got a review in my Lex Luthor vs Dr. Doom review, and Obi-Wan vs Kakashi already got a lengthy segment in my Season 7 retrospective. I say lengthy, wasn't actually that long, but I did like it. Also, I'm not doing Boba Fett vs Samus Aran. Yet. Those two might get their own review, or they might end up being part of a certain matchup set of reviews. Who knows? Maybe Samus will come back this season. But if not, I think it is perfectly fitting for the first episode of Death Battle ever and its remaster to get its own dedicated review in the future anyway. So, we'll just have to see. Let's get started with this review with...
This was an incredibly close match.
Luke vs Harry is incredible. The animation is unbelievably smooth, the voice acting is impeccable, and the writing is really good. There's a ton of subtle details, and I don't think Luke got stomped quite as bad as a lot of people have claimed. I think they actually both did really well. Now that the epic rap battle is out of the way, let's talk about this fucking travesty. Okay, it's not that bad. The analysis for Harry had a few jokes that made me smile. Luke's had one about Boomstick using the mind trick for horrible things, which normally I'd probably find quite funny, if Season 1 Boomstick isn't established as someone who's fully willing to rape. And for a Season 1 episode, this fight is borderline decent. Keeping in mind the characters and questions and how they fight, a surprising amount of stuff was able to be done with these two almost entirely incongruent arsenals. And I say that fully aware that essentially all of the fight is Harry shoots a laser and Luke hits it with a glowing wiffle ball bat. Despite this, I mean, it's decent choreography all things considered. There's almost a sense of genuine tactics in this battle. Luke tries to mind control Harry tries to keep it at distance, Luke disarms Harry to stop him from magicking, but Harry's able to wondrously teleport. Harry decides to use the firebolt to get some air superiority and protect himself with magic while waiting for it. Luke grabs him out of the sky, Harry tries going invisible, Luke force blasts everything to hit him regardless of where he is, force chokes him to stop him from casting spells. It's all basic stuff, but for a Season 1 episode during the Ben Singer era, having any sort of primary dynamic between the two and riding the fight around it was about the best you'd get out of this matchup. Because the matchup doesn't do much in terms of animation potential. And yet, something was made, and it's not like Harry had the best assets given most of his sprites amount to shooting a single spell. So really, Ben was working to the bone to get anything out of this. And yet, he still fucked up. Harry not only attempts Avada Kedavra 3 times, actually shooting it off the 3rd time, he also uses Confundo to apparently no effect at all, as Luke seems completely fine after Harry uses it, and when Luke blocks Expelliarmus, the disarming charm, his lightsaber doesn't get disarmed. Not to mention, Luke later blocks a bunch of magic spells after his lightsaber is destroyed by just holding out his hand and... whatever's going on here, this is all about as clear as an opaque brick wall. It does lead to, however, an amazing death where Luke rips Harry's scar open in this absolutely fucking horrific display of legitimately uncomfortable to watch brutality. Oh wait, actually, the killing blow is Luke stabs Harry in the stomach with his Shoto Saber and Harry doesn't react, but presumably shits himself so hard his heart gives way and he dies unleashing a massive reverberated fart. So what is this episode? I mean, it's fine for Season 1, I don't know, like a 4 out of 10. Is that fair? I don't care. I first thought this episode's probably a 6, then I thought about it more, then I rewatched it again, then I noticed it's really stupid, now I don't like it. Go to hell.
Thanks for the tip. I'm not sure if that was profound, or just stupid.
Sora vs Pit is a very good episode, but not one that's excellent. The analysis is fine. Sora's had some good moments, especially at the end, and Pit's was better. They point out some of the stupid parts of their series without coming off as disrespectful as Ragnar vs Soul did, and I'm glad we got a character more famous for his Smash representation be more than just the Smash representation. The fight is also really fast and fun. It starts slow, but it gets really into it with them throwing range attacks, though I don't know how Pit flies here without his wings glowing to represent Palutena's flight, although I guess his wings are never really glowing in the animation. For once, Pit does the funny smashing of Sora's face, which is the most memorable part of this entire episode, and takes it to the skies, it gets even better. There are some really dynamic shots here and some fantastic animation. Pit gets to use one of his uprising weapons, which personally just made me really happy as someone who wasn't too into Zelda and Gandalf being pretty much exclusively Smash abilities. And I really like Sora having to use the pillars and rubble around him to deal with Pit's flight. Pit's also really charming all fight, helped by one of the most accurate and charismatic voice performances in the show's history. I fucking loved every delivery from Pit. Holy shit, it's Justin Brenner. Holy shit, Sora is Bryce Papenbrook? Oh yeah, Sora's also there. Sora blitzing Pit and stopping his areas for dropping here with magic is cool. Yeah, Sora plays kind of a bit role here. This really is the Pit show for me. And as such, it's fitting that my least favorite part of the fight is Pit dying. Though not because Pit died, but because the death amounts to Pit goes into his super strong armor, fires 2 attacks, and then a still unchanging sprite of Sora falling from the clouds fires an ability that is not an attack and one-shots Pit. Legitimately, Pit does worse in his souped up form than either Fierce Deity Link or Final Bison, and that is truly a low bar to fail at reaching. You did not even need to jump to reach that bar. It's a shame, considering this entire fight was actually really entertaining up to this point. Truly, this was an episode that deserved more attention, and then it just ends, and that sucks. There's so much more you could have done with this fight, and it's really bothersome that the ending just didn't fucking bother. This is a 7 out of 10, but not a very high one. It's a good episode, but it's held back by not having any really dynamic moments that stuck with me aside from this, and the death being shit. And I just think there's so much more they could have done, and I think they could have easily had that with Pit in his fucking armor. Once Pit's in his armor, and Sora's falling back down to Earth, you could have way more abilities get thrown back, but no, Sora just shoots Pit in the face. Yeah.
This must mean that Cable was Booster Gold's heartless.
Do you have a concussion?
Mickey's name is Michael, and I hate that. Yoda vs King Mickey is a great episode, and easily amongst the best season premieres we've ever gotten. Of the 2 episodes in this tier, haven't been many truly great outstanding premieres. This episode starts with 2 really good analysis segments, striking a borderline perfect balance of versus necessary stats and abilities, and the character's stories and development, without coming off as either a character neglecting versus battle wiki page, or a dry and unclear Wikipedia plot synopsis. The jokes weren't really hitting me or anything, but I was entertained. It felt like both characters were given a lot of respect and care, and the writer really cared about what he was working on. Except for the Ringmaster joke. That was long, unfunny, and painful. It was probably setting something up for the second half of the season, but holy hell, this feels like it goes way longer than it needs to. There's just no punchline. I mean, there is. The punchline is Dummy says some shit and stuff, but between the setup and the punchline of the joke is this exposition dump in a versus show? Why? But yeah, aside from that bump in the road, the analysis is solid. Oh my fucking god, Yen Sid is just Disney backwards. You've got to be fucking joking. Now for the fight. I've said before, this fight is basically flawless, and yeah. For a start, the voice acting is phenomenal. Yoda primarily. Philip Sacramento does a fantastic job with the character. Keston Howard also does a really good job with King Mickey, but being that it's Mickey Mouse's voice, there's an innate level of goofiness to it, and I'll admit, it does make some of the more serious moments come off as unintentionally hilarious. And I find Mickey's Ultima at the end really funny, and it does take away from the death, admittedly. But that's not really a fault of anything death battle related. Mickey Mouse has an inherently silly voice, and taking anything away from this death battle just because it was accurate to the source material it was going off of would be just kind of unfair to death battle. I will say though that I don't think this is the holy grail of death battle as some of my friends do. As good as it isn't flawless. There's no real explanation for the fight, and it's weird in how it starts. For all the care that was put into characterization, primarily for Yoda, as I'll explain in a moment, their setup is literally just Yoda has flown into Mickey Mouse's dive to the heart via starship. Somehow. This is a dream world. Did Yoda fly into a dream, or is Mickey just dreaming about Yoda attacking him? It's really confusing and dumb, and oh boy do I love Kingdom Hearts. And continuing the train of things that are entirely Kingdom Hearts' fault, Mickey when he gets serious and looks angry is just impossible to take seriously. And it does mean some moments I'm supposed to take seriously just don't work. Combine that with the fucking hilarious sounding grunts, and this is a really funny battle, which sometimes is detrimental to its intent. On the flip side though, Yoda has done very well. Playing into his characterization, the way he's so respectful of Mickey, laughs a few times in his Yoda way, and most notably when he throws away his lightsaber to focus on the Force after a while is great. It is incredible how well the SFM team has managed to work in the Jedi's connection to the Force and their 2 goes at it. Obi-Wan closing his eyes to focus on nothing but the Force and letting the Force guide his lightsaber, and Yoda throwing away his lightsaber to fully embrace the Force are both excellent moments that highlight these characters and how intrinsically linked they are to the Force. As for the fight itself, very well animated. It still has some of the SFM jank, but not quite as, not anything like Ganondorf as Dracula's start, or The Mistake. The integration of their most basic abilities into their very well done swordplay is very well done. Though I can't help myself from sometimes feeling like their weapons don't look like they're clashing. I've also heard from Kingdom Hearts fans that the way Mickey is holding his Keyblade is wrong because he's attacking with the teeth of it, but, I actually don't give a shit. You know, people make fun of Fate for being stupid, but at least that doesn't have people going around with giant keys as weapons. Instead, it has the Cosmic Death Vagina. Thankfully, while the serious moments are unintentionally hilarious, the intentionally funny moments also work for me, and that's great. I also appreciate they both have a moment where they get disarmed and bring their weapons back to them, and Yoda's even have this great feeling of momentum and swing with how the camera tracks the lightsaber both times. And the bit where Yoda starts wailing on Mickey with a stick, that's just fucking great. But when Yoda starts focusing on the Force, that's when the fight really starts to shine. The first bit is good, but just good. It's not some masterclass of an SFM fight until Yoda starts really giving it his all. Yoda weaponizing his own starfighter while completely brain dead, as now we can't fly out of the dream without it, that's a dumb sentence, but it's a dumb series, is a really cool moment. It's a Chekhov's gun that initially feels like just a part of the setup. You don't realize what it is until later, where it's turned into a pretty big piece of the progression of the battle. Admittedly, it's a bit weird how quickly the pillar halves move in this shot, only for this shot to have them be completely static, but And while it's cool as hell, the shot of Yoda making shadow clones is really, really dumb. That is not how his illusions work. This is a real,
First one without Naruto this mentor-themed death battle is. Rectify that, I must.
moment, honestly. And it bothers me, because it really comes off as if they have a tangible effect on the output of Yoda's attack when he fires Mickey's magic back at him. But the ending. The ending. While I think the Ultimate Scream is really, really funny, and the fact that it's just a vaporization is retroactively more boring now that the rest of this season's first half has come out, this is one of the best finales to a death battle animation ever. This is up there with Iron Man vs Lex Luthor and TJ Combo vs Balrog. Yoda tells Mickey he should surrender, and you can see some great facial animation as Mickey processes that. He processes through his head that, yeah, he doesn't have the power of the Force, which is currently dishing out more than he can really hold back. But he steels himself. He tells Yoda he can try. After all, that's what matters. Sure, he might not be able to overpower the Force, but he can damn well give it his all. Mickey fires back, and it knocks Yoda away with the light. And Yoda drops the best integration of a character's iconic line in any death battle, bar none. Terminator's "I'll be back" was funny, Hulk's usage of Broly's "I'm the devil" line was awesome, Solid Snake's "You're pretty good" was fucking phenomenal, but the way Yoda's "do or do not, there is no try" is so naturally worked into the dialogue, the way it complements everything that Yoda's done all fight, the way it matches with what Mickey has said, it's just beautiful. Complemented with the fucking outstanding ending to Hearts of Light, and it almost seems like Mickey listened to Yoda's advice. Like Mickey took in what Yoda just said and decided, yeah, you're right. And he jumps forward and he drops Ultima, and there's this very, very brief shot of Yoda seeing his impending death and just accepting it. And not like the Venom or Cloud way, where it's like they just decided, oh, okay, I guess it's time to die, and it feels unnatural. This is more sort of proper acceptance. Like Yoda knows he's lost, he knows he's about to die, and he accepts it with grace, knowing full well he's just gonna become one with the Force. Death is not something Yoda was ever really worried about. And he does become one with the Force. I fucking love this ending. This is the best incorporation of the ghost of a character appearing at the end of a battle, bar none. It's just phenomenal. He talks to Mickey, who taps him over the head, and he has a big old laugh as he fades away. It's so charming. It's such a charming moment with the character. And then Mickey quotes Han Solo, and I'm happy. Boy, what an episode. What a premiere. I wasn't sure we'd get another great premiere ever. We've had a good premiere, we've had some bland premieres, and we've had whatever the fuck Batman vs Black Panther was. But this was the episode that has given me faith once more in death battle premieres. The episode's a 10 out of 10, and yeah, I know that might seem obvious to some, it might seem too high to others, but this is a case where that finale to the fight makes everything. It's beautiful, legitimately. That single portion of the fight is all this battle needed to be as good as it is. A stunning moment, and the fact that the battle's shortcomings really at their peak amounts to some very minor grievances, or just issues that are inherent with Kingdom Hearts' portrayal of King Mickey in the first place. How can I not give it a 10? I'm so happy this review just kept the progression of improvement, from bad to good to excellent. And I really hope Death Battle Star Wars episodes continue this trend of quality when they inevitably bring Vader back, or if they use Sheev. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I'll see you another time. Have a good one.